Fellow hey.
Whoa.
Take 3.
No, that was the take. That is.
That was it.
No.
That's happening.
No. All right. Let's try it again. Fellow horse.
Oh my God.
Fellow horses.
Oh God.
Okay, I said that I didn't have any COVID symptoms, but maybe I do. Oh, God. Okay, let's try this again. Fellow heroes and Force users of all ages, hello there. Welcome back to Inside the Tauntaun, a podcast in the multiverse of fandom. I'm Daniel Dawson, and I'm joined by my dear friends and fellow nerf herders, Alyssa Simmons.
Hey.
She's also a goat.
Lost our minds.
Horse.
I said, oh,
No,
oh
he
my
said
God.
whores.
Oh, whoa. Oh, and there's Dino Nicandros.
Speaking of whores,
We're prostitutes on
we're
the
prostitutes.
show. Today we are discussing the Disney Plus Marvel Pew Pew Boom Boom show, Hawkeye. This is episodes 4 through 6, and by God, we're Marvel fans. And horses.
Who you are or where you came from.
I am Iron.
I thought they smelled bad. On the outside.
Smells like a new car in here.
Inside the Tauntaun, this is our opening song. Alyssa, Daniel, Dino, talking nerd stuff, come along. Inside the Tauntaun podcast, please like and subscribe.
This is too dangerous. Definitely not this one.
You don't have to say definitely like that. Holy shit! There are arrows more dangerous than that
Just some Christmas.
Oh, well, if we didn't lose all of our listeners then.
If you're still here,
Thank you.
Why? Why are you still here? Why?
Wow, that was great.
well, Merry Christmas.
A Merry Christmas to you as well. I can't believe it. We're here. We're alive still in 2021.
Despite our best efforts, we are alive.
Despite our best efforts.
Yep.
Oh my God. And we finally have reached the end of our Marvel fun times with Hawkeye.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
was like, the end
I
of
wasn't
what?
sure where
Or
you
is
were
this
going
like
with that.
your
It's like the
breakup?
end of
Is this your breakup of the podcast?
I didn't want to tell you guys until now.
because like speaking of like ending Marvel, my grandkids might see the ending of Marvel, but I'm
Oh
not
my
sure
God.
we
I
will.
mean,
I
highly
was
doubt
reading an
it.
article yesterday that they have 41 total unannounced projects ranging from films to
Jesus.
TV to animation to
Oh.
like special events.
Oh,
My
dear
gosh.
God.
Well, there you have it.
So
It's not going anywhere.
Only 41.
so anyway,
That is so little. We're never
that's
gonna have
that's more
enough.
flavors than Baskin Robbins.
I mean let's be honest. Like as much as we love Agatha Harkness, I mean she's getting her own TV show before some Marvel superheroes have even been introduced.
Which is
Correct.
pretty astounding. And
Yes.
I'm thrilled.
Oh, of course,
Honestly.
of course.
Side question. Do we feel like if they don't make that her theme song, the
Oh, I mean,
thing,
they have to.
if they don't use it in some shape or form, that would be just they
it
might
will
as
be
well.
used.
They might
will
as well
be,
use
yeah.
just end the MCU if they don't use
Yes.
it.
No, it's not going anywhere. It was too big of a hit.
Wasn't it nominated for a freaking Grammy?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Catherine Hahn was like, "What?
What? What? Why would you do that?
I'm
I mean,
confused."
it was a good song though.
Yes.
It was a bop, as the kids say.
They do say that.
They do say that. It was a bop.
Correct us if we're wrong, kids.
Yeah. Are we still saying that? I don't know.
Are we still saying Bob? No, now the phrase of the moment, which even the word moment, how it is used, is
different?
Yes.
troubling to me.
Yeah.
But what's the phrase? Oh, now
Suck my balls, probably.
That was our generation.
No, yeah,
Yeah, ours was
right.
suck it. Yeah, that was our generation for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with us, honestly?
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
it would just be
completely
like, yeah,
blanking
suck,
on it.
fill in the blank. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was a buzzkill. It completely left my brain.
Suck it,
There's
Trebek.
something. Oh, no. This person understood the assignment.
Oh, Sure.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I'm
I've
done
seen
with
that a
that
lot.
now.
I don't
I
know.
would like to retire that one.
It's not
From-
even clever.
No,
Alright.
this person understood the assignment.
They did. They did.
No one
You
tells me what
know-
to do anyway. So what assignment?
Yeah, we don't have assignments anymore.
Stupid kids.
Idiot.
Oh my God! But you know who did understand the assignment?
No, that's segue.
I'm just like,
Kate
how do we
Bishop.
segue? How do we do it? I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's hear it. Like we kind of usually start with a super duper broad, boom boom bam bam. How do we feel about the series as a whole now since we've seen the whole thing?
Well, generally, I liked it.
Generally.
I
So weird. I didn't expect you to say that.
yeah, neither one of you ever says that in any of our episodes lately. I really freaking liked it.
Mhm.
That was a fun time from start to finish. And Jeremy Renner, we said this on our last episode about this, but he finally got to have his moments. Like,
He did.
yeah, I rewatched 3 through the end today with Chassis, and
Oh my God! That today was Hawkeye for you. Wow.
yeah, today was a full day of Hawkeye. And yeah, the scene where Kate is translating what Nathaniel is saying to
Yeah.
him on the phone when he
Yeah.
doesn't have his hearing aid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd already seen it and it was making me weep.
It was
Like
so
his
sweet.
his acting is so great. The way that they wrote him in this show was so great. I loved his arc. I loved the relationship with Kate. I loved all the new, character reveals. I was
Mhm.
stoked to have Elena back.
Oh yeah.
And
She's so great. She's so great.
yeah, she's it's stupid how good she is for how young she is.
I
Both
know.
both her and Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, both of you are so young and such smart actors beyond your years.
And have them in the same show is pretty cool.
Well, and to your point about Jeremy Renner, I've been reading a lot of articles that have basically sidelined him a little bit. Like, he's underrated in his own show because those two are such firecrackers of talent.
Right.
And really, I mean, they're incredible. But then,
Yeah.
like, I was like,
He's
what
like,
about,
oh
what
man,
about Jeremy
always
Renner?
a bridesmaid,
Show.
never
That's
a
really
bride.
good. But
Yeah. So it was
yeah.
it was so fun, especially the last 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
I was from the cold open of episode 2. I like held my breath, I feel like, for most of that episode, because watching her get the way that they shot that blip into the transition of
Ooh.
her back,
Genius.
I was
Yeah.
like, holy, I just
That was
like,
fabulous.
Genius.
oh.
I'm fairly certain I think that was my favorite episode of the season. I think.
It was dope.
Yeah. Very,
And
very
That was
funny.
4, right?
I was 4. Episode 4.
Yeah.
Was it 4? No, it was 5.
5?
Yeah,
You are right.
Because
You're right.
Yelena shows up for the first
At the
time
end of
in
4.
End of 4.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just
episode
know
5.
because I watched it today.
That's
so it's
right,
very
okay.
fresh.
Yeah, she definitely would know.
Beginning of 5.
You said episode 2, but you meant this episode 2 of the like 4 and 5. And
Of
like,
this
yeah.
chunk.
Yeah, of this chunk, right.
Yeah.
The second episode you watched today.
Wowsy. Yeah.
Wowsy. What
That's
about
my,
you,
that's my broad thoughts.
Dino? Oh, that's my sister's cat.
Oh.
He's on your mind.
Dino, what do you think? Meow, 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 meow. He's not part of it.
Well, speaking of broad thoughts,
Thoughts of broads?
exactly.
You gonna
Yes.
start talking about
Uh,
ladies?
Yes. Yeah, Kate Bishop and Elena, I think we have been introduced to what is going to be I think they're a foundational piece for the MCU going
Dynamic
forward.
duo.
Those
Big
two
Big
in
time.
particular.
They got
Be
a
it-
really fun banter.
Be it Young Avengers or West Coast Avengers or whatever, it's probably going to be an amalgamation of all sorts of stuff.
No doubt.
But they are electric. That I'm thinking very specifically. Well, we're talking broadly, but I'll talk about this scene now.
Broadly about broads.
When Elena shows up at Kate's apartment,
Yes, the mac
and they
and cheese
talk over the
scene.
kitchen table, and
Just so
that
great.
was one of the best scenes in the MCU thus far, and it was very simple and
It was very much on par. I mean, sort of, but like on par with. Oh damn it! What's his name? Poop. I'll think of it in a second. It's a scene that's like at the beginning of a movie about Nazis.
Inglourious Bastards. It's,
Yes, thank you.
Christoph Waltz. Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Hans
Just
Landa.
like
I was searching for a Marvel reference, but
just
you-
like a wonderful actor, just being super kind about and like, but you know that they're like thinking about doing something really not nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that we'll talk more about that scene as we go along, but those two are remarkable. I'm going to piggyback off what Alyssa said about Jeremy Renner. Anytime he got to reminisce over Natasha was, I think those moments in this show were the most impactful of any of Marvel's TV shows thus far for me. I felt like this series in particular, I felt the most on a pretty visceral level. I was like emotionally connected to this story, which I don't know why I'm surprised by that, but I am. I thought Falcon Winter Soldier probably was going to be that for me, and it turned out to be this one. And
Interesting.
we talked about how each of these shows is dealing with obviously a corner of the Marvel universe, but also a certain kind of trauma, and
Right.
and getting to work through it with Clint in this series. I think it was the best executed. Like I have no complaints about how they executed his path through, one, losing his hearing, but also coming to grips with the fact he did some really bad stuff, but also learning to forgive himself.
Mm-hmm.
It's really complex and awesome, and Marvel hit it out of the park with this one.
Daniel, broad
My thoughts? Well, it's funny because, like, usually we're all pretty much in agreement. I think out of the 4 that we've gotten so far is my least favorite.
Oh, okay. Well,
I know it's weird, but
this is over.
I
Everyone say goodbye to
No,
Daniel.
tell us.
doesn't mean that I don't like it.
No,
That's,
just
that's,
like it, you would rank it 4th out of the
yes.
Disney Plus series so far.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely not, because I definitely 100% enjoyed myself and had a very fun time, and I thought the new characters were compelling and fun. It made me very excited about Echo because this new character is very interesting.
Yep.
And like I totally agree with you that like they gave Jeremy Renner like the chance to like really shine, and he did. Like I guess the things I would kind of complain about was sort of just some of the writing, and I think it was just maybe it was just landing the plane at the end and like, you know, connecting the dots and leaving things open. I mean, I know that some things were left open probably purposefully, but in other ways it was just like, oh, why did they do that? Also, I'm hesitant to say this because we still don't really know what his character is going to be like, but as it was happening, I was just like, I was so excited to see Kingpin in this show.
Yeah.
Well, just in the MCU in general. I'm just like, oh, he's coming back. And then I was immediately going like, oh, wait, this is now like this terrifying character that's going to be put into this PG-13 like show. And I'm wondering how that's going to translate. And and I got nervous all of a sudden. And then watching it, I was just like, okay. I got excited because they were showing off like some really cool things that he's capable of, and it was also pretty clear that this is a different version of Kingpin. We are now sort of like retconning the shows from Netflix and just recreating them within this universe, or they're like a variant of sorts, I guess. But yeah, I think that I wasn't really sure the way that they left it at the end too, with him like being shot in the face. Well, assumedly being shot in the face, but doing it off camera, like for so many people that were like excited for that to see him in the show, and all of a sudden to have him be shot at the end. And I know you're gonna say, but in the comics, but like for the people who are just casually watching and don't know the comics, I think it really just pisses your audience off, and I don't really know if it was worth doing that, or they probably could have just added another scene afterwards where it was like a teaser, like, oh, he's not really dead, you know.
Well,
I don't know.
Actually, funny that you say that. Apparently, and this is rumor, so take with it what you will, but
Sure.
apparently there was supposed to be an actual post-credits scene, not the Rogers musical extension,
which I very much appreciated as
Which-
well. That
it was fun, but I actually do take back what I said originally about seeing more of it. I think I saw enough of it.
yeah.
Yes.
I was
God
fine.
bless you, Mark Shaman,
it just was a little like I was like, oh, okay,
That's enough.
yeah.
That's enough.
Are we making fun of musical theater, or are we being true to the? I don't
Well,
know.
like if I saw that musical for
Well, it's
real,
just- yeah,
I'd
it
be
just was
furious.
every
Oh,
single-
sure, right. If it
it
was like
was-
actually on Broadway, I'd be like, what?
Every
How
single
dare you ruin
possible
these characters.
cliche to do, like in the choreography and
Box
everything.
steps
Anyways,
galore, and yeah,
apparently there was another Kingpin scene. So
that makes sense.
yeah.
And that was what was missing.
Yeah.
For sure. 100%. And you could tell too, and I know that, you know, you can't blame the writers too much. I mean, because like they're dealing with like an entire Marvel universe that they have to like maintain and make sure that everything makes sense within that universe. So I like more than likely got like brand new changes like almost a day before it like came out, kind of thing. I don't know what the situation was, but like there it was pretty clear, especially with characters like what's her face, Echo's brother,
Oh,
mean-
Kaz, or not Kaz.
Frey.
No, Kazi.
Frey.
Kazi.
Kazi.
Oh God,
Not
it's
Kaz,
Kazi.
it's Kazi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's not her brother. They're in love.
Well, right, but oh, they're in love. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
See,
there's-
that's another thing. I was like, I don't understand. So there was some things that were missing, especially for him, because like at the end when he like made his big speech about like you know, I don't know. He was like, you know, this was supposed to be about me, not about you, and like I can't be in both worlds, and like that moment just like it didn't feel like
fell
there was a
for
build
you.
up to that moment. I didn't understand why all of a sudden he was making this speech, and then like I was like, I understand because she has to kill you or something, you know, like there's it was like a means to an end, but I just felt abrupt, and also like the sword guy all of a sudden just being like, you know, just this fun like new dad and supposed to be.
But what I like about that is he was the same person the whole way through, but our
yeah, it was a misdirect.
He never
our
changed.
suspicions about him were alleviated. It was like that's the first time I think in a long time where at face value the person was who they said they were.
was exactly
It's like-
who they said
Yeah.
they were.
oh my god.
Yeah,
Poor bastard.
you're not wrong about that. But yeah, I guess with just like a handful of things, I felt like so that with that, like you can tell actually within that scene, there was a lot of times where they were showing her face and not his, which is like, you know, a telltale sign that they did a lot of like post audio stuff, you know, where they changed.
In which scene? Sorry.
In the scene where he's like, you know, saying, "Oh, this is supposed to be about me, not about you."
Oh, in the
me."
Kazi,
Yeah.
Maya scene.
Right. And actually, not even just that scene. I think there was numerous parts within the finale where like it looked like they changed a lot of the audio in post, and not even just the audio, but like maybe even some of the actual things that happened. But yeah, I'm curious about that too. Like, if that is the case, why they changed it. And, like, it just felt like there was things that may have been missing. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Things were. It was just a little confusing. I reminded myself, like, I'm having a good time. Like, this is fun. This is funny and very cute. And but yeah, it didn't really hit it out of the park like it did for you guys, I guess.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's fine.
It's fine,
I mean,
and
you're
that's
fired, but it's
fine.
fine.
Right.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I think just in general, and I don't know how you feel, Daniel, but I generally gravitate more towards like the comics and the movies that have, you know, characters with superpowers or magical abilities. That's just sort of like me, like, you know, I like the Hawkeye, I like the, you know, Falcon and Winter Soldier, you know, but like generally speaking, I gravitate more towards the you know, super powered Avengers and heroes. But yeah, I don't know where I would rank it. I need to think about it.
Yeah, I gotta pray about it. I think for, like, things that I, like, gravitate towards, I don't know. I think it's just, like, a really compelling story. Like, because, like, for instance, like, Batman doesn't, like, have any superpowers. He's just really rich. And I love his story. I think it's great.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna say, like, I think I'm kind of the opposite of Alyssa in that regard, in that
You like the more regular
I
people,
gravitate towards
heroes.
Iron Man, Hawkeye.
Mhm.
I mean, Cap is a superhero, but his story is, I guess, what we'd call earthbound.
Well, we always
um,
love the underdog story, you know.
Well, I just, like, I always feel like there's a sense of danger. Like, I
Yeah.
worry about Clint in a way that I don't worry about Carol Danvers, because
Yeah.
That's fair.
she
Yeah,
can
'cause Carol
fly
Danvers is
through
basically,
a
like,
ship.
godlike, yeah.
Not to say that she doesn't have challenges, but
Yeah, it's just different.
it just feels
Yeah.
like, even though the scope is smaller, it feels like the stakes are higher, if that makes sense. 'Cause-
We're at, like, a porterhouse steak, as
Right.
opposed to, like, a New York steak.
Sure,
Sure. hmm
if you will.
Raise them.
But isn't that great, though? Like, just having this general conversation, that tells you all you need to know about Marvel. Is that you can go off in your little corner and enjoy the stories you enjoy, and they're all going to tie in anyway. So
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's, and honestly, I'm being super, like,
an asshole.
and a super asshole because mostly just because, like Marvel is just so good at this game that, like, that we can be, which is, like, such a I mean, I think it's kind of a blessing that the fact that we could be this nitpicky, like, I don't know, and the show is still good.
I mean, that really is stunning that you ranked it your least favorite of the TV shows, and I'm sitting here like,
This is
that
my
was
favorite.
the most impactful. So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it really, I'm sure that conversation is being had on message boards across the multiverse.
And yeah, and
which is
I
so great.
like, I don't, and that's, it's not like I'm not the kind of guy that would be like, how could you possibly think that was your
No,
favorite? Because
sure,
I completely understand why it would be, and it makes sense to me, and yeah.
Totes.
Yeah, because I'm not saying that you shouldn't like it because it was bad, because that's definitely not what I'm saying.
Yeah, you just
Right, no,
there,
I'm
there
not
were
saying
parts
you
of,
should like it.
yeah, there were parts of it that for you didn't all the way click.
Yeah.
And
But
you are
that
right in pointing those out, by the way. Like, I don't think you're
Yeah,
incorrect
I'm
in
sure,
some of the assessment.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, it's possible they told them originally, like, yeah, you get 50-minute episodes. And then they
Right.
were like, JK, 41 to 43.
Cut it.
And then that's, you know.
And to that point, you don't know, and Daniel, you kind of touched on it, but you don't know what Feige and others were telling them as they were making it
Right.
about
Yeah.
where it needed to land based on
'Cause-
how other projects were shifting, which
Exactly.
is the one
Yes.
pitfall you do have in a giant operation like this, is that they are
And
pretty
with
codependent.
the TV shows, they probably, because of the nature of television and film is so different,
Mm-hmm.
the TV shows probably more so than the films. They're
Change.
like, yeah, this thing that you wrote for this episode has got to, you know, either go away or be something different.
Yeah, make it work. And they've,
So-
I mean, like, because who knows? I mean, they've got Miss Marvel coming up probably relatively soon. I'm sure it's like,
Yeah.
getting pretty close to being done.
I think it's this year. I think it's
Yeah.
I think it's next fall.
I'm not sure how much it's going to be related to everything else, but who knows? Maybe they've like, ooh, this we got that. How can we should probably change this part and maybe with Echo too, the show Echo,
Yeah,
like
could
they're
be.
like, ooh, we need to set this up better. So let's let go of this guy. Let's or maybe if we need to have him be, because I that's the other thing too, is I don't even know if what's his face is actually dead.
Well, and
Kingpin?
Not Kingpin. Because Kazi.
Kazi.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, like,
think
I mean,
Kazi's dead.
it could be just setting up him being a antagonist in her show potentially or something,
But I do agree with you on how they left things with Kingpin, because I'm 100% sure he's not dead.
No, he's
100%.
not.
Yeah,
No,
because
no.
I mean,
So
it
it didn't make a ton of sense. I don't think I was angry, but I wasn't angry because
No.
I was like, of course.
Well,
he's
because
coming
we
back.
know the
It's
comics.
Vincent D'Onofrio. Well, it wasn't even that. Like, I wasn't familiar with the storyline where if you go Google search it, there's a comic issue where he has bandages over his eyes, and like
Yeah.
I won't spoil it for those of you that want to go read it, but I was like, just from a if you're roping Vincent D'Onofrio in to reprise this character, you're not doing it for the finale episode
No,
of
My
there's no
God.
way.
a Disney
There's no
Plus
way.
show, period.
And
So,
just like showing off all of his brand new like cool powers, and
which
stuff.
is
I mean,
awesome, because like you saw his strength in the
Yeah.
Hawkeye or in the Daredevil series, but they went comic book here, where he's
Yeah,
ripping
They
they
did,
shot him
doors
straight in the
off of
chest.
a car and gets
And
hit by a car.
Yeah,
and
yeah. And
Gets
super
up.
easily picking up Kate Bishop and just like chucking her across the room.
He's a
like, with one
scary
hand.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a very scary dude, and that's what I was talking about, like upping
Terrifying,
the stakes
imposing
with these more ground-based series. So like we've had the universe threatened, it will be threatened again. The multiverse is threatened now, but there was something like super sinister and scary about just a mob guy who can withstand getting hit by a car. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of like that we reset the level of threat to where this feels dangerous, and then we can build back up to
Yeah.
Thanos.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And Vincent D'Onofrio he's just a large man in general, and a very scary man in general. So
And they did really good with like a lot of the cinematography in that sense, where they were kind of like the different angles that they were always like filming him from behind, like but on a downward diagonal, so
Mhm.
everybody
So
looked
he-
really small.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
It was smart. They
Yeah.
did some like forced perspective stuff that was fun.
if you had to pick a favorite scene of maybe these last 3 episodes, but it could be from the whole series as well.
Oof,
What-
it would
what would
be
that
for
be?
me. It would be like a close tie between the blip part
Yes.
or Echo's origin story.
Mm-hmm.
That was so beautifully done.
Yeah,
Yes.
I liked both of those too, and it makes me feel sad, like saying, I mean, it's I don't know. I mean, yes, it was Jeremy Renner's show, but like they really did like make it a point to like lift up these wonderful women
Yeah,
in
all 3 of them.
his show. You know what I mean?
4 of them, if you count
The mother,
Vera Farmiga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
totally, yeah. Which all
of
of a
course you
sudden at
count
the
her.
end,
She's
she's
great.
like the one. It was one all along.
Eleanor. It
Eleanor.
was Eleanor all along.
They're gonna lock up your mother on Christmas.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
gosh.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's another thing too. Is I'm curious if that was also potentially redone. Like if she was maybe supposed to die in the end, but then they're like, you know what? No, we need to keep her because we're gonna do something else with her later.
Mm.
I don't know either. I don't.
I think that my favorite scene of the whole series was when Elena almost killed Clint.
Mm-hmm.
On
Ooh,
Rock
yeah,
Center,
that scene was
on the
that
Rock
scene was
Center
very
ice rink.
yes.
Just because, she has so much like, they both have so much like anger and sadness about
Yeah.
Natasha being gone.
Right.
And yeah, it was just very cathartic.
Bless you.
Thank you.
It was very cathartic to have him get to explain that to her.
Yeah.
That Nat sacrificed herself, and that he wished he could have stopped her. He
Right.
wished that he could have.
And he tried his hardest.
He tried.
He
was
really
like,
did.
Yeah, I lost. I
And
tried.
I'm curious too, because we've had, quite. I think because I think that the complaint back in Endgame was that we got a really beautiful funeral for
Tony.
for Tony, but we
Mhm.
got barely a whiff of anything for Nat.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of like her moment of her funeral moment in a sense.
Yeah,
For sure.
between her movie and
And
this series, yeah, she got a send off, but
Yeah, and I'm assuming that this. I mean, we'll probably hear about her again, but I think that maybe they're done mourning her loss. Maybe we'll see.
yeah, and that scene in particular that gutted me the most was when Elena says to him, "You got to spend so much time with her."
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Boo."
So
and then
sad.
he tells her, he's like, she talked about you all the time, and all she ever cared about was if you
Yeah,
were doing okay.
him doing the whistle signal that
Yeah.
about took me out. Yeah. So I was happy for both of those characters that they did get to because not many people knew her in the same way that not many people know Yelena or Clint.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so to have that moment together to talk about the person that they both loved so much was really, to me, like the most special part of the series.
It was very sweet.
Totally. And going back to that blip scene, we know this, but why it was so amazing is that you get to see the blip from the perspective of the people that left, and it really puts it into perspective.
Right.
They felt like they were gone 5
seconds.
seconds.
5 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And really interesting the way that they depicted it too, because it I gasped. I actually audibly gasped
Oh, yeah,
when it
me
happened
too.
because there was 2 things that went through my mind. I was thinking, okay, here's the blip, but then I was like, oh my god, wait a minute. It looks like reality is warping. You know what I mean? It looked like all of a sudden we were getting very much like almost kind of like Wanda-esque, like
yeah,
warp.
the like all this stuff.
Yeah, the reality
Yeah.
warping thing going on. I was just like, what does that mean? That's very interesting. It was just a really cool point of view, but it also just like it made my imagination run wild because they did that very purposefully. Like that's a very specific effect. I don't think that was on accident. But yeah, I actually audibly gasped, but I was like, oh.
Well, and just the trauma of that. We know we understand the obvious trauma of those who lost people in the blip, but to be the person who was gone 5 seconds and to turn the corner in the house and realize 5 years went by. I mean, what a nightmare.
Oh my god, I literally the other night I don't know why I thought about this. I think I was watching TikTok for a little too long and my mind was just wandering. But if somebody was like at an event and they were taking a poop in a porta potty and they got blipped.
Daniel.
They come back 5 years later and there's no porta potty.
Of course, that's what.
So they're going to be probably pooping in public. Just on the ground.
Like in the middle of a daycare center.
Yeah.
That was horrific. And of course, that's what you thought about.
Great.
I really want to see that point of view. We haven't seen that point of view yet.
Well,
and
the closest we've gotten to it was Spider-Man
Yes.
Far From Home when the band blips
Yes,
back onto
yes,
the
yes,
basketball
yes.
court.
that was hilarious. And I
mean,
love that
horrifying,
so
but
much.
yes, that's so
Yeah.
good.
Oh, man. But yeah, just endless awful situations, I'm sure, that came out of the blip. Yeah, the people. Oh,
Yeah.
and I think that I didn't think of this. As somebody else thought of like people who were on a plane that got blipped, and then
Oh,
like the
gosh.
plane. You know what I mean? Yikes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it was Like, there's some horrible stuff that happened in that case.
Mm-hmm. Whoops.
And you know what? I do hope.
I guess I should have been more specific when I snapped.
I do hope they explore. They've done it a bit, but I really do hope they explore maybe in Armor Wars or elsewhere, like the disaster of people
Yeah.
flipping
Spooky
back.
part.
Like
sure.
it's like yikes! What?
Yeah, it wasn't
the hell
all
is
like,
going
oh my God,
on?
I'm so glad to see you again. It's like, I'm sure there's a lot of really sad parts of it, for
And-
sure.
Well,
and,
yeah,
uh,
we saw a
and
little
Falcon
bit of
Winter
that
Soldier,
with
yeah.
Falcon Winter Soldier, obviously, and
Yes.
when Monica Rambeau blips back
Yeah.
in the
Right.
hospital, and then all of a sudden the hospital is like, people are just,
Overwhelmed, yeah.
running around, and beds are probably now have multiple people in them, and
I'm also kind of who else was surprised that Louis Dreyfus
Valentina.
Valentina didn't show up in this show.
Mildly.
Mildly, yeah. I feel I don't know. I
thought
understand.
maybe if anything she would like be on a phone call with
Yeah.
or something.
I mean,
don't
because
know.
this was technically she wouldn't be present for the assignment, and this was the
Yeah.
Well,
assignment
yeah, and she
Elena was
wasn't
given.
she wasn't I suppose Valentina relayed the message to Yelena, but
right.
Yeah.
she was there on behalf of Eleanor.
Well,
Right.
that's what's interesting, and that's why Eleanor's going to hang around, because
Yes.
Yep,
she
yep.
called Valentina or whatever's going on there.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And again, we've talked about it like way back, but in light of this article I was reading, keep Thunderbolts at the front of your mind.
It's
Mhm.
coming.
And or Dark
it's gotta
Avengers.
be coming.
Like,
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
there's
we've
some
got,
seedy stuff.
We've got so many possible ways that the next portion of the MCU, the next couple phases, honestly, could
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Especially with our finding out who the Rolex belongs to.
Oh, okay. So, can I just for a second give myself a little pat on the back, because
you love
I
to
meant
pat yourself.
I'm a pat myself. You hear it? You hear it in the microphone?
That's not what he's doing.
Because I did. I mentioned it before, and you all said, nah.
I don't
Well,
remember.
remind
you
us-
men-
remind
I don't
us what
remember
you
what you
said.
mentioned, but
Well, okay, I didn't say who it actually was,
Okay,
but I was just
there
like,
we
she.
go.
But no. But I did say, because she.
I knew
she
it
had
belonged
said,
to someone. Okay. Oh, okay.
No,
because when she
speak,
was on the
boy.
phone with him, I think it might have been in episode 3, but she was like, she was speaking German, and I was just like, that's
Yes.
weird.
Well,
And
and you did, I will say, you did the last time we recorded ask. You were like, wait, does Clint's wife? And for me, I thought no, because they renamed her in the MCU. Clint's wife in the comics is Bobby Morse.
Right.
Correct.
So
Yes.
we all thought, that's not happening. We're not
Yeah, they're
getting
probably
that,
rewriting
We're not
it.
getting that side of Hawkeye in the MCU. But
And truthfully, I actually didn't know that. I was just assuming, just because, like, story-wise, it would make sense that they met at S.H.I.E.L.D. and just became, like, sexy partners.
Well, and just what threw us off the scent, and as it was supposed to, again, going back to Age of Ultron, is that, I mean, it's the Avengers and not necessarily S.H.I.E.L.D., but nobody knew about her. But
No.
Right.
thinking about it in hindsight, Natasha being the only one that did, it's like, oh, they were
Mhm.
together, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
But,
makes all
yeah,
of
you
the
can
sense.
pat yourself, Daniel, but
Yeah,
I
two pats.
Just,
That's-
I did
There
do
you go.
probably too many, but yeah, I'll take 2.
No,
2 is fine.
no.
but
you were
I
right
am
on.
very excited by this possibility that we might get to see Laura as Mockingbird. I
Very
mean,
plausibly. They're just setting up a big woman, like, intense,
Mhm.
like,
And
team
Linda
of women.
Cardellini is such a friggin' good actress too. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, Secret Wars, as Dino has talked about quite a bit, there are a lot of women characters that we don't know yet that
Yeah.
are in Secret Wars, and Mockingbird is a huge part
Or
in,
are you
in
thinking of,
Secret Invasion. In
Secret Invasion.
Yeah, but Secret Wars as well. There's like
Yes,
a lot
yes.
more characters that we haven't
everybody
met
is involved.
in the MCU. Yeah, exactly. All the people are in that
The
war.
MCU is involved in that movie.
We're also in that as well.
But yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the Secret Invasion comics, which I read earlier this year.
Oh, speaking on that, I was also surprised that we didn't see any Skrulls in this show. At least that we know of. Like, they didn't, like, show, like, somebody turning into a Skrull or something like that.
Yeah. I think maybe we didn't need to, but...
Yeah, assumedly.
But possibly with us having, you know, Laura Barton be Mockingbird in MCU.
Laura Barton beep!
Mockingbird is the very first Avenger in Secret Invasion that gets kidnapped by the Skrulls.
Oh, shit.
And
that's fun.
And so they send their, you know, Skrull person to impersonate her, and she's sort of like the beginning of the infiltration.
Poor Hawkeye.
So,
Keeps on. He just can't keep his family in one place for more than 2 seconds.
That got me excited, and also I went on a bit of a Marvel database.
A bender.
Bender, yes. And I mean, I mostly know Mockingbird from Secret Invasion and from West Coast Avengers, which we might be going there too, y'all. West Coast Avengers.
I mean, if you look at the roster and who they've actually introduced, it's like, yeah.
Not to mention one of the largest adventures that the West Coast Avengers go on is with Kang the Conqueror.
Uh-huh.
Huh. Interesting.
Yep.
Also, what people, I mean, Bobby Morse, and we're not, you know, some people are like, okay, well, so if Laura is Mockingbird in this universe, does that mean that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the TV show, has been retconned?
Yeah, I would
Feels
assume
that
so.
way.
I would say yes, but there's also a possibility because Agents,
and the Darkhold, too. Like, I think it's just safe to say that all of the Netflix projects
Well, they
have
can just
been-
say multiverse now.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. They can just say
Yeah.
that
You
was
know,
going to be
like,
my
it's just-
explanation. Or what they could say is that when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. retire, their agent number is passed down to another person.
Yeah,
so it's possible.
True.
I mean, that is what happens in the comics. So
yeah.
if for some reason, you know, if Laura was the first Mockingbird and she retired and then she possibly passed down to Bobby Morse, that could.
Well, the only
you know,
problem with that, though, is the timeline and how what's-his-face still looks the same age, even though he would be, like, you know, at least 30 years older. The one, what's his
Coulson?
name?
Agent Coulson.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it sort of feels like they're like it's like a gentle retcon.
I think so. Yeah.
If anyone listening watched how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ended, their creator is on record saying we had to kind of split from the movies because we didn't know what the hell was going on, and we had to finish.
They
what
weren't
we were
telling
doing,
us anything.
So we kind of did our own thing towards the end.
Yeah.
And
So this is really Kevin Feige's fault.
well, no, it wasn't Kevin Feige. It was the head of Marvel Television at the time, which doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
I don't remember his name, but
But one thing that makes me curious about Mockingbird is that
Mock. Yeah. Ing.
Dumb and Dumber over here.
just dumb.
What makes me a little like, could they go this way? I don't know. Maybe. Might be kind of dope. In some of the comics, Bobby Morse has been injected with the super serum.
Oh, yeah.
And she can dent steel with her bare hands. She like has crazy healing speed in the way that the Flash does.
Very cool.
Like she can recover from a broken leg in like a day.
So it's very interesting you bring that up too, because I feel like in this show in particular, there's numerous people that we can point at and be like, I think you might have had the serum. Because like even Kingpin.
Yep. No, for
potentially.
Sure. Yeah.
Could have taken the serum.
Yeah.
That'd be
also,
a great explanation.
Bobby has some like psychic abilities, which could come into some interesting. You know, they might not choose to do all of her all of those feats or whatever, but
Yeah.
So many feats.
she's got 10 feats.
That's quite the superpower you got there.
But I think the psychic abilities could be really cool with our.
Ooh, yeah, I'm excited about that.
Because, that's cool.
What was isn't there a oh yeah, there's numerous I was thinking of an X-Men that also has that.
Jean Grey.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Jean.
Good old Jean Grey. Oh God, I want to see those X-Men so bad.
Soon. Ish.
So
I mean, it
sorry,
feels like it's
sorry,
gonna
I
be soon.
skipped ahead to that. I just am very excited.
No.
about
Oh,
that.
no,
we-
please,
No,
it's
we're
fine.
skipping around. I'll tie it back in a minute, but I
Skip
do
ahead,
want to
skip
spend
ahead.
a moment talking about Kate Bishop. I mean, we've
Let's
talked about
talk
how
about
great
her.
Haley Steinfeld is, but as I said at the beginning, she does feel like she's going to be the core of, or very near the core of whatever team we're getting next.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
Between her and Elena and all the different possibilities they could go and who they could link up with.
Oh, and I remembered just as you said that. Remember when we talked about Spider-Man last week? How
Yes.
Yeah.
I said there's a run. It's one of the West Coast Avengers runs
Gotcha.
where they don't know
Oh.
his
There you go.
identity, but they
Oh,
are
got it,
working
got
with
it.
Spider-Man, but they don't know that it's Peter Parker. Anyways,
God.
Well,
carry on.
and we touched on it during our Spider-Man episode, but there are some serious crossing of the paths here.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
yeah,
no
yeah.
doubt.
And it's just my mind running wild, but so we've determined Peter is in the MCU, but now alone in the MCU. So what is his
Right.
way back in? And could it be a chance encounter with Kate Bishop, or
Could be.
Yeah.
somebody who has been established at the ground level? Like, I'm taking care of New York, and
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
It
there's
makes
these brand new
sense.
characters, so it would make sense to introduce like a brand new Peter Parker. Yeah.
or
Mhm.
if he like catches Matt Murdock doing something crazy,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
could his way back in be through that? And then you have Kingpin naturally kind of being a foil. Like, it's all sitting right there in the sandbox, and it's going to be really fun to see how the pieces are
Yeah,
put together.
for sure.
Yeah. Very
Um,
exciting.
I have to say, like, for this one, beyond like the emotional stuff I really liked, this is some of the best fight choreography
There was some
Yes.
cool
Marvel has done
stuff
yet.
there. Was there anybody else got like kind of like? I couldn't. I like the fact that they shrunk the van down and
That
then
was
the owl
so
just took it
cool.
off.
The
Like,
owl- Well, and I love that was a play on
Oh,
the owl
no.
they found in the Rockefeller tree in Christmas
Yeah.
2020. It was like, oh,
Yep.
that's a funny little.
yeah, it's cute. Anybody who's a
Not,
New
but,
Yorker would
But
get.
I haven't gone and researched it yet or watched any of the behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very curious how they achieved the whole Rockefeller Center fight and
Because
the-
it looked
what
so
happened with
good.
that tree.
It
Like,
looked
that
so
looked like the
good.
friggin' tree
It
in
looked
Rockefeller
great.
Center.
I'm pretty sure it was CGI.
I think it
Um,
was, but it just looked
maybe
really,
it looked
really good.
very real.
I mean, I was like, did they give them like a permit at 3 a.m. to go cut down a fake tree? Which I know they didn't, but like,
Yeah,
it looked
no.
like it.
Yeah.
I'm like 90% positive that the tree didn't exist, but
But-
it looked really good.
If you happen to watch the show with subtitles on, which I always do,
Yes.
Oh,
I did.
me Same.
when the van gets carried away by the owl,
Oh,
it said children screaming.
I love it so much. I was like, that makes it so much more dark. there's
Well,
kids
I love
in
it.
there.
I love like Kate asks him. It's like, so what happens to them now? And it's like, I don't know.
Oh no.
And
don't know.
we may never know.
Yeah, that just
Uh,
got me so good.
He just became owl baby lunch, basically.
But I love how
Um,
they leaned so heavily into the comic book stuff, particularly in that big fight
Mhm.
and all the different arrow varieties. It felt kind of
Yeah.
Home Alone-ish, and
Yeah, no, definitely.
but
There were several very cute like holiday movie references for
Yes.
sure.
yes. Well, this show to me, I guess because I liked it so much, it kind of feels like it's going to be a Christmas staple. Like I'm probably never going to watch it at any other time,
No,
just
no,
because
no.
it is specifically geared for that. But like next December, I'm absolutely cracking this open and watching it.
We had just excellent cinematography too. Like there was so like a surprisingly amount of those really long shots.
Yes.
And I'll never forget that the long shot in the car where they're
car
like
one
basically
was so dope.
where they're rotating the camera the whole time.
Eric
so
Spielberg
cool.
and James Whittaker did 3 episodes apiece, and
They killed it.
Yeah. Also, the
Absolutely
continuous shot of Elena and Kate fighting through the offices
in the office.
Totally.
the side swipe shot was I was like, oh my gosh, it's still going,
Yeah.
Ah!
I mean, there were like a couple like clever cuts in there, but it looked so seamless. It was brilliant.
Yeah. It just
And their banter is just so natural.
yeah,
gosh,
they're
like, I couldn't
two
take my
that
eyes off of them.
if they just even gave the two of them like a team up movie or something, I would be just thrilled.
Or if that's Hawkeye season 2, because you'll note
Maybe
they called it the season finale.
They did.
They
And
did.
they said that very intentionally.
they
Like-
did.
And that end bit of her being like, "So what do you think you should call me?" Like,
It's like, I think I have an idea.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
yeah, it just
And then title card. Yeah.
yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, fun
It's
times.
Fairly apparent. So, I mean, he called her his partner.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, is that the way that it stays? Question mark? Or does he become sort of like, her like secondary, like I'll be there when you absolutely need me, but otherwise I'm retired.
Like the he might take on kind of the role of Tony, what Tony was to Peter.
Sure, I could
Where
totally
like
see that.
I'll show up when you need me, but
You got this.
Yeah.
you take care of your stuff. I will be interested to see. I'm thinking of like the legacy Avengers that are still around, and it's Clint and Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see his relationship in She-Hulk.
She-Hulk.
Yep.
With his cousin. Thor is out in space.
Mm-hmm. Thor
the other
in space.
The other 3 are gone, so
Yep.
I wonder what kind of role these 3 take on if they're.
Oh, and Wanda and Doctor Strange.
Right.
Yeah, but even they weren't the
Yeah, you're right.
The
They're
core.
not. They're not the
The
core.
vanguard.
Yes.
The OGs.
But no, you're right. They will be foundational, of course. But I wonder how those 3 will impact what happens now, or what kind of role they take in grooming them, if they do at all.
Yeah.
It's interesting too because like in West Coast Avengers, or even in like, do you guys know about Great Lakes Avengers? That's
No.
a really.
I've
So,
never
oh my
heard
gosh!
of that.
Oh my gosh! It's so weird. They're these.
What is it, like a Michigan themed Avengers?
Yeah, it happens in the Great Lakes.
Okay.
They're super duper weird heroes, and actually, Clint and Bobby Morse are the ones that kind of train them and help them become like an
how
actual
random.
branch of the Avengers.
Did they
super,
in the
super
comics?
bizarre.
Did they like make it sound like they're from Michigan? Like,
I've only read some of the Great Lakes in relation with West Coast.
okay,
Not any of their standalones.
got it.
So I don't know exactly, but they're really bizarre characters.
That's funny.
Let me pull up the characters while we're chatting about this. But
I don't know why that
yeah,
reminds me of the
it's-
LARPers getting their Avengers moment.
Yeah.
I mean,
That
yeah,
was so and then the surprise, the absolute surprise on their face when they hit people, and
Yeah. They're like, wow,
oh my
I did
god,
it.
I just took this person out, and the music for them was just so perfect.
yeah.
LARPers
So
kicking
these are the weirdest characters. I love it so much. Big Bertha is
Oh,
one of
good.
them. So Big Bertha,
That sounds like she's my favorite.
she's ginormously fat and
Good.
just like bounces people around on her fat.
Wonderful.
The doorman who art wise looks a lot like Spider-Man.
Okay.
Flat Man.
Oh no.
I already know exactly what he does.
Dinosaur.
Is that like a dinosaur that explodes or something like that?
It's just a girl that turns into a dinosaur. Basically.
Oh, okay. Oh, and her name is Dinah.
Dinah.
Sure.
Soar. And then
Okay.
Grasshopper, basically just like a man that looks like a grasshopper.
Good.
And
Probably jumps. Good.
Yeah, and
rubs
this
his
guy,
legs together, makes
this
noise.
guy called Mr. Immortal, who,
He sounds like the OP one.
he cannot be killed.
Yeah, that sounds pretty
Well,
OP
I
to
don't
me.
recall seeing the Great Lakes Avengers when everybody needed them in.
Where the heck were these
Yeah.
Great Lakes
Wars.
Avengers?
Where the hell?
So that's kind of another funny Clint
So funny.
Clint and Mockingbird connection. Hawkeye and Mockingbird.
Yeah, maybe they'll bring them in.
What I was gonna say, the reason I started talking about Great Lakes, so they have the New York Avengers compound, and then they have the West Coast Avengers compound
Oh.
and the Great Lakes, and these are all kind of like simultaneously happening in a lot of the comics,
Oh, interesting.
and they communicate with one another and make sure things are okay in like those parts of the world.
Mhm.
So, just what you were saying with like our OG Avengers. That might be something similar, though. We get like, intercom conversations and.
Oh, sure. Just to kind of like be like, oh, this is happening during that particular moment.
Yeah.
So that's why they're not here.
Yeah,
in
kind
a
of how we
sense.
saw Bruce Banner and Captain Marvel in the post-credits scene of Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. Might be something similar to that as we get into these like other Avengers groups.
It's interesting that you bring that up too, because like now that we have context, I know we've been kind of saying a lot of spoilers for Spider-Man, but I guess like if you haven't seen Spider-Man, then maybe just don't listen right now. or go listen, go watch it and then listen to our last episode and then listen to this one. But now that we know that who the new Sorcerer Supreme is,
Yes.
that post-credit scene also
Makes way
has
more
a lot more
sense,
context
yes.
and makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and it takes some of that hilarious mystery out of why Doctor Strange was missing, because we were all like, "Is he Mephisto? Did something happen to him? Like something is
Yeah.
off." And
Right,
it's like,
right.
no, he
Uh-huh.
was just. He's not the Sorcerer Supreme. That's it.
So he's like not taking it really seriously anymore,
Right.
apparently. Yeah.
He's just making one boo boo after another.
Yeah,
Yep.
whatever, it's fine. But very interesting. Wow, I gotta check out the Great Lakes.
The Great Lakes Avengers.
Yeah, so bizarre. And the only reason I know about it is because there was like a random break-off episode in this West Coast Avengers set that I was reading. And all of a sudden I was like, what
Yeah.
what is this? This is so weird.
What even is this?
Yeah, sort of like
That's
the
funny.
kind of like the Guardians of the Galaxy, this like, or Suicide Squad type feel. Really like underdog heroes.
I have a random question.
Yeah.
Sure.
Where do we feel
It's going.
Kingpin's? Yeah, where do we feel like this is going?
I love that
Where-
question.
I love talking about it, but it's so broad that
I know. But honestly, though, yes, that is the ultimate
No.
question. But I guess the more defined question for me is, where does Kingpin go from here? Does he end up in the Echo series? Is the Echo series going to be a continuation of her story, or is it going to be an origin story? Et cetera, et cetera. What do you think?
I think he will be in that, and particularly if it's an origin story, he will absolutely be in that.
Oh yeah.
Because they let's talk about that for a second. Their relationship, where that was one of my favorite scenes actually, was when they were talking and she's like, I need to go clear my head for a little while.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And she's like, they say I love you, and
Yeah.
and he turns around and he knew the entire time. He's like, oh, well, that's unfortunate.
Well,
And I
Gonna have
freaking
to
love
kill
that
her
like
now.
he just like that, just his brilliant acting, like his little physical acting, that like his like subtle
The
but not so
twitch.
subtle eye twitch, yeah,
Yeah.
that's happening the whole time. I was
and
like,
he was
this
sweating
guy,
like profusely.
uh-huh.
He's so good.
He's-
That's why, to your point, Daniel, I could see why people would get angry that the
Yeah.
episode ended the way it did, because he needs to be involved heavily going forward. And if I had
Yes.
my way, per your question you just asked, if I had my way, he'd be one of the founding members of the Thunderbolts.
Oh shit!
Like, he gets involved with that group.
That would be interesting.
I'm
vote
not
for
sure
that.
that happens in the comics. Like, he's not a part of any of the ones I've
That would
read.
be
It's
quite the
usually Zemo
twist.
at the
It's
center of it.
Zemo. Let me do a quick
But,
searchy while you guys are just...
Well, Zemo is still definitely around.
Thunderbolt Ross, Zemo,
yeah, Ross.
Abomination.
Yeah, wait. Remind me. Where did we leave Zemo off? Like
He's
where...
he's on the raft. He's in prison on the raft.
Right, he's in prison, but
But that's
as we
Thunderbolt
found out,
Ross's
it's
facility.
pretty easy to get people out of there, I guess.
It's the Thunderbolt Ross's facility.
Right.
And then Abomination was fighting
Kingpin.
Wong
Kingpin is in the Thunderbolts. Yep.
Okay.
in a version of them, I guess.
Yep.
Very interesting.
So yeah, I mean, could you imagine
Yes.
if,
There's a
Marvel
Oh shit.
went the Deadpool route of saying, okay, we're going to allow R-rated.
Yeah, that's what I'm very
R-rated
curious
corner.
about.
What if they went R-rated Thunderbolts and went like Suicide Squad, but
Ooh,
actually quite
shit.
serious?
Do you think they do that? I don't know if they'll do that.
I don't think so. That's pure speculation. I'm just
I know.
talking out loud.
I mean, that goes. That also continues the question of whether or not they're, because that we know that oh God, what's his face is going to be now in the MCU. Not Daredevil. Oh God, Ryan Reynolds.
Deadpool.
Deadpool. Thank you. If Deadpool's there, like, are they giving their? I mean, assumedly they're going to make him like the PG-13 version, but I think.
Well,
that if
no,
they do
I
that,
believe
like,
I believe Kevin Feige said he was gonna in his own movies they will remain R.
they will. Okay, that's
Yeah,
great.
Like, they are giving them complete creative autonomy in terms
okay,
of.
fantastic. I mean, if
But
that's
when-
the case, then
But when he's involved in like group ups, it's actually
Yeah.
I think it's actually going to be hilarious. Where he's going to comment, he's like, "Well, this isn't R-rated, so you can go to hell." Or, like, he's going to censor himself by breaking the fourth wall.
no doubt. But if that is the case, and that's the kind of reason why I brought it up. I'm like,
Yes.
if there is a world where Marvel allows a rated R film, then it's possible.
Or the show, or even a Thunderbolt show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Because the whole interesting thing about them is that, well, depending on which version you're talking about and when, but some versions of them start as an evil group, and then they find out they like being heroes.
Mhm.
But the one I'm familiar with, Zemo, they masquerade as heroes,
Right.
strike up
Yeah,
a deal
that's
with the Avengers,
that's
and
the
then
one
stab
that
them in the
that
back.
I've read.
Now, is there remind me again, because we found out about this over a year ago. But like Disney Plus was like planning like a Disney After Dark section of Disney
Were there really?
Plus. Well, not that, but I mean, it was going to be like the adult version of Disney Plus, so that they could put all their like rated R shit on there. Because like right now, it's like you can't really see any
right.
of like the really seedy stuff that they own. They do own, but they don't have it there because they don't want like the kids to be watching the rated R Deadpool, for instance.
Well, and to be clear, like, I don't think Thunderbolts has to be R to be effective, and I don't
Mhm.
think gratuitous violence makes something grittier. Like, it
Yeah,
doesn't
know.
inherently make it better. But I think
But it's so fun.
if you allow it to be R, all that means is you allow them to like fully embrace what kind of characters they are and
Right.
really lean into some of the ugly stuff they do. And
Right.
But I'm not for just.
But
buckets of
I
blood.
I
just for
do-
the sake of it.
But like for instance, like with people like Kingpin, like, spoiler alert for people who haven't watched the Daredevil show, but I mean, like, the guy like is horrifying. I mean, obviously just like his subtle stuff where he's just standing there is just imposing, but like the guy like just like severed somebody's head in a car door, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like slammed it
Yeah,
shut like
yeah.
numerous times, like until the guy's head like imploded, basically. Like that like, I mean, it was a very important moment for his character. I mean, was it necessary? Yes, I think so, because like I'm like I'm like, oh wow, this man is willing to do something that savage. Like that says something very much about who he is. You know, and you can't do that in a PG-13 show, you know.
Right.
Like I don't even think you could like really, because they did show a fair amount, but they still kind of like edited it for the Netflix show, but it was still gruesome. But like,
Right.
yeah, they couldn't do that on like, you know, Hawkeye. It's not,
No.
No,
definitely
not on
not the
Disney
vibe.
Plus. No,
Yeah.
they're not.
So I am curious whether like how they're gonna like do that on Disney Plus, if it's gonna be like they're just gonna keep, because they also own Hulu. I wonder if they're just gonna keep their rated R stuff on Hulu, or if they're gonna. I thought that I was hoping that you guys would remember, because my thought from what I remember, that they were like planning a completely like separate portion of the same app maybe within Disney Plus, but it was like Disney Plus After Dark.
This is my first time hearing of that, so I don't.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not opposed if it allows them to, if it gives them a little more creative freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought they were gonna, like you said, just keep them on Hulu.
Yeah.
Like have them be the Hulu.
But I mean, are we headed for like a little West Coast Avengers versus Thunderbolts? Is that like our
Dang,
ground-based
I mean,
conflict?
I
Maybe.
am here for that. With
And
the
then-
with the characters that we have introduced in this phase, it makes sense.
Well, like we forget about Eli in Falcon Winter Soldier. Like,
Yeah.
like they're there, and then Captain Marvel, or Captain Marvel will be here pretty soon. Or not Captain Marvel, sorry, Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll meet her in Doctor Strange.
Kamala Khan. Well, and I kept forgetting about Doctor Strange. America Chavez.
Oh, America
right.
Chavez. Sorry, not Kamala Khan. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yes, we're meeting them
Yes.
both next year.
Yeah, this that's certainly what it feels like. Wowie.
And then while everything else is going on in space, like Lord knows what Thor is going to be up to, and the Guardians, then we already know Doctor Strange is messing with time and reality, and what a giant mess.
Yep, we're in a mess again.
And
So
I
I was
love it.
trying to, like-
I love it.
I'm still trying to Google where this rated R. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I've not heard anything about that, but
And you know, maybe I'm getting confused, because I think that they were also, maybe it was all it might have been a different country, because I remember that like that big Disney like Plus announcement that they had last year. They were like, it wasn't just for America; it was for like the entire world. And I
Right.
think they may have mentioned something. Maybe
Well,
it
I could
was-
definitely see it in like certain conservative countries, like
Yeah.
specifically like the Middle East,
Mhm.
if they'd even allow an adult section, which I don't even think they would. But
right.
interesting.
I could be confusing it with that. but-
Well, I mean, do either of you have any kind of final wrap-up thoughts on Hawkeye or the characters, Kate Bishop, or any general thoughts, or did we cover it?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm excited for Hawkeye season 2, because it sounds like we're getting one. I'm excited for Echo. I don't know what else to say. I just don't know what else to say.
He's just so
Yeah.
angry about it.
So pissed.
I had a fun
off.
time. I had a super fun time. I will say again, Christoph Beck, who did the music, it felt perfect.
Yeah.
And he did Ant-Man as well.
Yes.
Yeah, and then WandaVision.
What?
Didn't he do
Yeah,
WandaVision?
I think so. I think you're right. Yes, that sounds right.
I mean, not the.
The music
Not
for
the
WandaVision.
not the songs that the Lopez's
not the-
wrote.
Right.
No,
Just-
right.
yeah.
I'm talking about the actual score. Yes, he did
Right.
WandaVision
Great,
and
yeah.
the Ant-Man movies.
Yes, very good. Love,
Which I
love your
really
work.
liked. I liked WandaVision's.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
to
trying-
me, his which we've a little bit talked about this, but I feel like the Disney Plus series have done a great job with scoring that feels recognizable and
There's a unique sound for each one.
mhm.
Well, and I loved how Christoph Beck incorporated Lauren Balfe's Black Widow
Yes.
score, the Elena
Yeah.
theme.
yeah, that was
That's
great.
one of my favorite Marvel themes. I think it's so chilling and Russian.
And also the theme from her death scene, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he cited that a couple times.
Yeah, he did a really good job with all that.
Yeah, so I had a fun time. I'm excited to see where we're going, as always, with all of these Marvel things. It's like so many possibilities.
It's just endless.
Dino, final thoughts and prayers?
My prayer is that this never stops.
Yes, don't
That's
let
a
it
great
end.
prayer.
Yes.
Like, and
Let me hear your
I know, but
plan.
we talked about it last week, but not that I needed a re-energizing with the MCU, but like Spider-Man put me on such a cloud nine.
Oh,
that
man.
I've been so
They
excited
set the bar
for
way
Hawkeye.
too fucking high.
Yes, but also because we had like another Endgame moment, it just re-energizes everything else. Because as much as it was a capstone for like Spider-Man in particular, it was a doorway to like what could be.
Right.
And we'll talk about that going forward. What could be just from that movie?
Yeah.
By the way, now it's
so
officially Sony's highest grossing movie of all time.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's
Wild.
over $1 billion already. It's
Yeah.
Well, makes
pretty
sense.
saving the box office. Thank God.
Yeah.
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 Cool.
On we
Great.
go. We've got Boba Fett starting on Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's the big
I'm
teaser.
so excited to get back into Star Wars.
Ooh, it's been a long time, guys.
It has. It's been a year.
Since. Yeah.
I mean, not
Well,
bad.
I mean,
we
the
had
last
Bad Batch early this
Star
year, but-
Wars episode we did was Visions, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, the
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. It was Visions.
It was Visions. Yeah.
Visions, yeah. Visions
It
and
was.
the Terrifying Tales, the Lego special. But we haven't.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That's
So-
right. Oh my God,
I
you
need-
guys! I
I
can't
need-
wait to see live action Omega.
We need some Boba Fett. I need some Boba
We
Fett
do.
in my life.
Boba's got a sister, and we're gonna see her in the show. I don't know that.
This is we're happy to be going back to Star Wars.
Very excited. And
yeah.
we're gonna do allegedly weekly shows. Allegedly.
Yes, and if that changes, it will be because we are also tackling some other
something else.
stuff.
Yeah.
So bear with us. But the plan
There's a
as
bear
of
with
now
us!
is to go episode by episode with Boba Fett.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot to goo goo gaga about.
Yes.
Gaga. Yes. Mhm.
Yes. All right, great. Well, that wraps up Hawkeye then.
Hawkeye.
Hope you watched it and followed along with us. That is the plan.
Followed us horses and whores.
Yes, thank you for bringing it back around to that. That's great. This is Inside the Tauntaun, a podcast in the multiverse of fandom. I'm Alyssa Simmons.
And I am Daniel Dawson.
Wow, I actually tried to skip you.
Rude.
And I'm Dino Nicandros.
May the force be with you.
Always.
Inside the Tauntaun podcast. Please like and subscribe.